In this recording, in this series of starting a new CAM project in Milling, we'd like to actually talk now about the settings. Now that we've seen all the options for creating a CAM part. Now, the best way for working within your CAM part settings is having everything closed. This way, everything will be available to you for changes that you want in the CAM part settings. To go into the CAM part settings, again, there are three simple ways. If you have a toolbar on top that's open to SolidCAM, you can simply go into CAM settings. If you have the task pane open, you can also go into the task pane where it says SolidCAM settings. And one more way where it's always available is if you go into Tools, SolidCAM, and we have SolidCAM settings. All of those will get you to this page. Now, there are many settings in here, but I'm going to deal with the ones right now that have to deal with getting your CAM part started up. In other words, starting your CAM project. First, we have our directory. The directory is actually the default directory where you're going to be saving your parts. It also has the defaults for additional files, such as you're using your thread tables, inside operations, and where your iMachining database is. Next, we have our units. Units just tells you what measuring system you're using, and that has to deal with the machine that you're working on. If you're working on a machine that's working in metric, your default should be metric. Doesn't mean you can't change it while you're working, but your default should be metric. If you're working in inch, your default should be at inch. And then we have our default CNC controller. With our default CNC controller, you can control what is the default machine that you'd like it to always open up with. And this is helpful, especially when you're working mostly with one particular machine and sometimes using some of your other machines. We have our G-code. This tells you exactly where your G-code will be stored and what is your editing tool that you'll be using for when you create your G-code. In my case, I'm using the Simco editor. And we also have CAM part. Now, in CAM part, we have whether you're working external or internal as default. As you notice, when I was working with a default of external. And we can go further down over here, and we have parts that are unchecked. And I'll explain that in my next recording.